What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Fear the Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 14, two-parter type thing, Wrath and North. I'm going to talk about it as one whole episode because trying to find the right place in the middle is just going to be way too difficult right now. But this is the 2-hour season finale, and just like I was thinking last week, having to watch the show for 2 hours, so much harder than you would think. Like, having to watch it for 1 hour is hard enough because of all the stupid stuff they throw in. 2 hours, a lot more room for stupid stuff, and there was a lot of stupid stuff. I will say probably one of the best episodes though because of a couple scenes that just really stand out as great scenes. But overall, there was a lot more just stuff that made me go, seriously, are we stupid now? And honestly, almost all of it was on the Nick side. That entire storyline, whenever it came on, just made me want to stop watching. The stuff with Maddie and Travis and Alicia, all that stuff, really good. And I'll get to that after I'm done talking about the Nick stuff. Because the Nick stuff is just really, really dumb on so many levels. First of all, Nick manages to go find the guys to talk to them because apparently, like I said in the last review, apparently somehow because they were looking at him, through binoculars, and we know how close you have to be to actually see anything with binoculars, he managed to see them just fine. Which, I mean, come on, that's dumb. If they're having to use binoculars to look at him to be able to see him at all, he's really just going to look out and be like, oh hey, there are a bunch of guys looking at me with binoculars. Huh. I totally know who those guys are, too, all the way from here. I'm gonna go talk to them, work something out with it. It's stupid, is what it is. It's really dumb. It's a way to have these guys know about Colonia, and then a way for Nick to go and talk to them so that he can prepare Colonia. Because, once again, these ruthless drug lords or whatever they are decide, you know what? Most of the time, crazy people like us would just kill anybody, which we find out later that they killed the two people that they had taken captive a couple episodes ago. Normally we just kill people like you guys, but once again, we're going to let you go because you're a main character. So we're not going to kill you. We're going to give you plenty of time to prepare for us coming, set a trap for us, and then escape without any harm at all. So you go have fun, kid. We're just going to be here and be idiots. So, just really dumb. It's a way for the writers to manufacture this plot so that everybody gets out of Colonia alive, and then these guys end up getting their comeuppance. That's the only way they can think to do it. They couldn't think of any other way. They couldn't think of having them possibly attack Colonia, and then Colonia fights them off for the first wave, and then realize they're going to come back with more, and then set a trap for this. No, it's got to be something dumb like Nick sees them looking at him through binoculars, probably way too far to recognize them, goes and talks to him, doesn't get killed, comes back and has time to plan it all out. Also in this Nick storyline, we have what is this show's attempt at throwing in some shocking action with a walker. One of the guys in the clinic dies and becomes a walker, which I guess they weren't doing their job well enough. I mean, you should be checking on people that are near death constantly. And it takes a good few minutes before they actually turn. So the fact that nobody went and bothered to check on this guy who, if he is that close to death to where he dies in your clinic, you'd think he'd be on watch or something like that. Like somebody would be standing next to his bed like, okay, he is about to die. I'm going to make sure when he does die that he doesn't turn. But no, nobody's watching him. He manages to get up, attack Nick, but doesn't even go for the bite. He just kind of grabs him for a second, so that way Alejandro can throw his arm in the way. His arm gets bit. We learn that he's not immune. Shocker. I totally thought he was immune there. I mean, that bite could have been anything, but it had to be a once again, this show just trying to throw in some, ooh, what a twist. So, yeah, Alejandro's arm gets bit. Nick wrestles the walker over a railing. The walker lands on this one guy who's in bed, bites the end of his nose, and his nose just falls off once again because shock. Oh, his nose got bit off. No, have his nose get bitten off, not yep, it's gone. It reminds me. You guys ever see The Master of Disguise? That really weird movie. That one time when he like bites the guy's nose off and then spits it back onto his face. That's what it reminded me of. Like it came off that easily. It was just like, it's gone. Oh, who's got your nose? I got your nose. Then all of a sudden, like instead of continuing to attack the guy, the walker then turns and attacks the nurse and like bites off one of her fingers. Which I am kind of curious. Like if he bites off the body part that, like he bites down on the nose and rips it off. That guy's not infected, is he? Like, because the infection comes from like if he bites your arm, the infection spreads from his teeth into your bloodstream. So if he bites you on the nose and rips it off, it's almost like if you got bit on the arm and chopped off your arm, like the infection wouldn't spread to the rest of your body. So just something to think about. Same with the lady with her finger. If her finger got bitten off, like I don't think the infection would have spread if the finger got taken off. But this is. Once again, the people in this colony are stupid, so they don't think like that. So they send these two people to their death, but Alejandro, who got bit on the arm, doesn't have to go because dictatorship. And then what commences after that is a bunch of talking between Luciana and Nick and Alejandro, talking about, Nick wants to leave, Luciana wants to stay, Alejandro wants to stay, Nick trying to convince Alejandro, trying to convince Luciana. And the weird thing about all of these conversations is it sounds like that they've been here for years. And coming from Alejandro and Luciana's point of view, at least they've been here for, almost a couple months now. Nick's been here for what, a week, if that? Like he has not been here that long, and they're making it sound like he's been a part of this colony for months now. It's like, the dialogue in this show is written 5 seasons from now, like they are so far down the line from what the timeline in the show is actually at. It's kind of ridiculous. So ultimately though, Nick finally convinces Alejandro to let them leave, convinces him, hey, go out like a hero, not like a douchebag. So Alejandro lets them all leave. With his last breath, he sets the trap. The guys come in to take over the colony and go through the bus. I can't remember exactly how it works from there, but pretty much what happens is they get in there, Alejandro uses the bus, moves it out the way with his last action, and then all the walkers, which I'm going to talk about that is just dumb. It's a lack of consistency with the show. It's a laziness on the writer's part, and not necessarily the writer, but the editor's parts. First of all, the blood thing is extremely overused. It's been said several times. I'm going to say it again. The blood thing, covering yourself in blood to walk through walkers, extremely overused. And now it's become such a thing that they don't even show it anymore. Like in The Walking Dead, it's been used twice, and in desperate situations when there was no other way out. This is just like, oh, you need to go walking? Just cover yourself in blood. Yeah, that's whatever. I cover myself in blood all the time. You're not grossed out by it? Like, it's one thing if you're in a desperate situation, that's your last way out. Yeah, I'll do it. But they're just like, oh, I'm going to cover myself in blood. I'm going to drink my pee for a second, too. Delicious. It's like they are not affected by any of this. And the show's gotten so lazy now that at one point, Nick climbs on top of the bus. All these walkers are walking towards him. The next scene, he's walking outside of Colonia covered in blood. How did he do it? How did he manage to get a walker, cut it open, put the blood on him with all of these walkers right in front of him? Who knows? Who cares? It's just filler. Like these people are invincible, so this is just filler. Like to see him walking out there with the blood, who cares really? That's how it feels at least. Like this needs to be explained. This does not need to be this thing that's just like, oh, he's standing on top of a bus. They're about 30 to 40 walkers right in front of him trying to get to him, and then the next scene he's outside of Colonia covered in blood. You need to explain how he manages to get himself covered in blood in that situation. But they don't. They don't care. And later on, once again, they don't care. It shows the guys traveling into town, the drug guys, whatever. They come in with guns, take out a few of the walkers, get into the bus, get out of the bus, and then when Alejandro moves the bus out of the way, it shows the walkers coming out of the fence, and there's like 100 of them. I'm just like, how are there still that many? You know, like they took out at least 20 on the way in. There's still 100? And then all of a sudden it shows them inside the town, and it's just like a wave of them. I'm just like, that looks easily 300. Are you serious? Like, keep it consistent. And the thing is, they've got assault rifles, they've got pistols, they've got all of these guns. You're telling me they couldn't take down 100 walkers? Well, actually, I'm sorry. They couldn't take down 300 walkers with all those assault rifles? Like, I understand the number probably kept growing. It was like, you know, it was almost like the fish in the loaves, you know, when Jesus made them keep popping up. That's what was going on. You know, Jesus made more walkers pop up so the bad guys could get their comeuppance. That's what's going on here. Now I understand. So, even though there was only 100 inside that fence, once they started walking out, Jesus was like, oh, these bad guys can handle that many. Here's some more, and just started poofing them up right there, right? I mean, that's the only thing that makes any sense, right? So, yeah, the bad guys, you know, they're shooting, but then all of a sudden, you know, it doesn't show anything else until later when Victor, Travis, and Maddie show up. You know, it shows them dead. And the other final thing to talk about in that scene is right after it shows the bad guys shooting at them and then running away in fear, it shows all of the people of Colonia following Nick through a street, and they are all covered in blood. So not only did you manage to keep 100 walkers, which turned into 300 walkers inside of this gate, you also managed to kill as many walkers to cover everybody in the town in blood and still have enough walkers that they're going to overrun the bad guys with assault rifles. Do you think, writers, like, do you actually think whenever you're writing this stuff? Or do you just, does it just sort of like, oh, how are we going to have the bad guys get beaten here? I know. We're going to have it to where they drive the bus out of the way and the walkers swarm on them. Oh, but there's only like 100 in there. Now, we'll make it 300. We'll try to get 300 in the shot, inside that fence. Yeah, that'll work. Oh, but then how are the people going to escape Colonia? Oh, I know. We'll cover them all in blood. There you go. Episode written. That's all you need to know. It's like some of this stuff is connected, you realize. You know, you can't just have them all be covered in blood. They have to get the blood from somewhere. It's got to be from the walkers. Where are the walkers? And even when Maddie and Travis show up at the town, you see all of this blood everywhere, and there are no bodies. So where are all the walkers that they killed? Because I highly doubt that they just shoot. Oh no, there are too many. Let's run away. Oh gosh, what are we going to do now? I didn't see any walker bodies. And then whenever they finally happen upon all the walkers, there's like maybe 60 or 80 of them. I'm like, seriously? If I'm watching this as an editor, if I was an editor for this show, I'd be like, this scene does not make any sense. All of this stuff right here does not make any sense. We either need to redo this, or we need to take some of it out, because what I'm seeing is not matching up with what I saw before. But no, nobody cares. It's just like, whatever. And that's my biggest problem with the show. Sometimes it feels like nobody really cares. The writers, the editors, the directors, it doesn't feel like any of them care on some of this stuff. You know, some of it, it's so simple. It's just like, that doesn't make any sense. Can we fix that? But they don't. The problems keep happening. You know, all of these stupid coincidences, all of these stupid issues that should have been edited out, all of them keep happening, and nobody's catching it. Nobody's saying we need to change that. Nobody's saying we need to do that shot again. It's just, we got our product, let's put it out there. It's frustrating. For me. You know, people may watch this and not catch any of this stuff, but I'm watching this and glaring to me. I don't know if maybe that is just me, but I mean, I'm watching the late version of this, which came on at 12:30 and 1:30, so I am dead tired right now, and I'm catching all of this stuff. I can't imagine what else I missed. If I had been more awake, I may have caught, but that stuff was just so obvious to me that that's an issue. It should be fixed. So I can't believe that nobody's catching this. However, now that I've talked about all of that, I'll talk about the final scene after I'm done talking about Travis and Maddie, because this stuff was actually good. Um, First of all, you've got the two hooligans are staying at the hotel now. They showed up the night before and are talking to. They're pretty much still being idiots within this whatever they've got going on to treat the sick or whatever. I don't even know what it is. They never really explained what happened. It's just like one moment everybody's at the gate, like arguing and yelling, wanting to get in, and the next second they're in this undisclosed location. I think in like a parking garage, maybe. I don't know. It was just like, oh, they let everybody in. When did they decide to do that again? I don't remember that being talked about. But anyway, these two hooligans are acting up, causing issues. One of them's got a broken shoulder, dislocated shoulder, something along those lines. And you're just kind of like, okay, so what happened to Chris? Is he just, oh, he's dead? Oh no, what happened to him? Could he possibly be dead? And they start talking to Maddie and say that they got into a wreck, and then the driver, who was too young to be driving and didn't have his driver's license, he's dead. And it's just like, okay, are they just saying that like they think he's dead, like they didn't see his body but they're pretty sure he's dead, or what does this actually mean? Because they wouldn't actually do that. They wouldn't actually kill him off. Like that, they're not able to kill anybody. And then another BS moment. They're trying to get these two out of here because Maddie feels like, but Maddie's talking to Strand. He's just like, you can't tell Travis about this, and she's like, but I need to. He deserves to know. It's like, no, that's the only reason he has to live right now. It's just like, dude, lying to people like this never works out. And sure enough, it does not work out. But so the plan is to get these two out. But unfortunately, everybody in the parking garage thinks that these two guys are being moved to better accommodations. And after having seen what happened with Travis in the last episode, because Maddie's such a genius, they feel like they're not being treated as fair because they're not American. Like that seems to be the general consensus. So they start following them and causing this ruckus, which, once again, just like with the walkers, when they're in the parking garage, it feels like there's maybe 30 or 40 of them. They get outside, and it feels like there's 60 of them. Like, where did all these extra people come from? Get your extras in order, please. Like, I'm an extra. I know what it means to work as an extra. There should be some consistency in your shots. There's not a lot of consistency in this episode. So, all this ruckus catches Travis's attention. They're being loud enough to where he hears them. He goes to the window, and from 5 or 6 stories up, way too far to see clearly, especially because he seems like he's at the age to where your vision may not be gone or blurry, but at a distance it feels like he shouldn't be able to see that far. He manages to see them from that high up and see that it's the two guys that Chris was with. Because what are the chances? And then on top of that, not only does he see them from that high up, you see him running down the stairs. You're like, dude, he's never going to catch him. He catches them. It's just like, oh, so now Travis is Usain Bolt running downstairs. I love the scene that follows, but that part was total BS. So anyway, Travis finally does catch up with him. He goes to talk to these guys to try to find out what happened with Chris. So they take him into this little classroom nearby. I think it's outside of the hotel. No, I think it may be in a part of the hotel. I don't really know. Like, the location of this is very bizarre. But they're talking to him, and then they start telling him, like, he was driving, Chris was driving, and then he must have dozed off, and it shows the wreck. The other problem I have with this is that, based on how they showed the wreck, these two guys should be dead as well because they were sleeping in the bed of the truck. I'm pretty sure they would have been thrown from the truck, and the way that they showed the truck crashing, I'm pretty sure they should be much more bruised up, if not dead, based on how the truck crashed. So I don't know if that's just, oh, we want to make it look like a cool truck crash, and I don't know. Once again, the details that should matter do not matter. But anyway, so they're talking about the crash, and then say, Chris must have he must have gone through the glass, and his head was turned weird. It must have broken his neck when he went through the glass. And then as they're about to leave, the other guy, who's probably by the end of this feeling like a total idiot, says, look, we pulled him from the wreck and we buried him. It was a nice thing. You would have loved it. And Travis hears that and realizes, oh, you guys are screwed. You just said he pulled him from the wreck. Was he thrown or did you pull him? It's like, we must have pulled him. And at that point, realizing that something was wrong, Maggie's like, no, Travis, just let it go. He closes the door and locks it. And then you actually get to see what happened. Like, you see Chris waking up from the crash. You see him dragging himself with, like, bones sticking out of his leg. At that point, I felt kind of bad for him. Like, he's a little psychopath. But, I mean, the way that he was dragging himself is just so pitiful and pathetic. You just, like, kind of feel bad for him a little bit. And you just see him dragging himself from the crash. And you see the two guys walking up behind him. And Brandon has his shotgun out. And just, bam. Chris is dead. I'm like, they killed off Chris. Holy crap. I was kind of like, when they started talking about it and they started saying, we saw his body, I'm like, okay, so he is dead. Like, I was so confused. I was like, I can't believe they actually killed him off. But at the same time, it felt like, why would, I wanted to believe that he would still be alive somehow, because that can't be the way that it ends between Travis and Chris, because that would be awful. That would be a terrible way for it to end between them. That was the scene that you saw in the last episode. That's the last interaction they had. Travis yelling, "God damn you, Chris," as he drives away with these guys. That's the last interaction they had. I'm like, there's no way. There's got to be something else. There's got to be another scene between them, because if that's the case, then Travis is about to lose his mind. And so to actually see how it all transpired, to see the entire scene, which was done very well, by the way. Like, not a lot of the filming has been great. This scene was spot on, in my opinion. I mean, the flashback colors were obviously there, but just the way that it was shot, the music that they had going, it was well done. And like I said, Travis loses his mind. And honestly, it is one of the best scenes of the entire 2 seasons. It is the best scene of the entire 2 seasons. Travis losing his mind, totally beating the living shit out of these guys, is absolutely amazing. And I could watch it again and again. It was so freaking awesome. I mean, he's just wailing on the one guy, and then, like, busts his head against glass, thinks he's done. Oscar tries to burst into the room with the keys. He slams Oscar's head, like, bashes it against the door frame. Oscar's down. He closes the door, locks it again. Then he goes over to the other guy, starts wailing on him, kicking the crap out of him. The other guy that he bashed his head against the glass is up with a chair, smacks him on the back, starts kicking him. He turns, totally takes that guy out, and just starts beating the crap out of him. Now that guy's down. He's like trying to crawl away. Travis grabs him, throws him through a freaking door, like the glass on the door, just throws him through it. And then the other guy, Brandon, the guy that is the one that pulled the trigger effectively, he's just lying there, just like totally out of commission. Nothing he can do. Travis used his dislocated shoulder against him, and then puts his foot on his head and just wham! Wham! I'm just like, holy shit. That was awesome. And then, ultimately, it leads to a lot of other stuff, but just that scene, the raw emotion in it, and the way, not just that, but even the action itself felt so human and real, and it's the first time I felt that Okay, not the first time, but like I've been saying in my past few reviews, these guys that they've met felt the most human this entire season. Because everybody else, it was like they're in a cult or they're trying to survive now. It's like they've been in this apocalypse for a year and it's only been a month. These guys are the first ones that felt human. And honestly, the entire Chris and Travis storyline is the first storyline that's felt human. Because we're only a month and a half or something like that into this apocalypse. Yeah, I totally believe this. I totally believe that Travis would totally lose his mind right now. The last thing he got to say to his son was, "God damn you." And that in itself is enough to make him go crazy, but to know that these guys killed his son because they thought he can't come with us anymore. I totally, completely believe this scene. It's the first scene that I've 100% believed this entire season. The rest of the season I've been like, that's stupid. I don't believe this. This is too coincidental. This should not be happening this early. What is that? Who would act like that right now? I get it. He's officially snapped. He's been through a lot. The past few days with Chris, with these guys, he's been through a lot. And then to hear that all of this stuff transpired with Chris, and now his son is dead. He doesn't get to say anything else to him. He doesn't get to apologize for what he said. These guys are the ones that killed him. Yeah, he's about to take it to him. I loved it. It was a brilliant scene. The best scene of the entire show so far. If only, if only the rest of the show were that good. I could actually talk about the show with some joy. But no, I mean, after that scene, things kind of go downhill as far as the quality of stuff. Obviously, Oscar's brother is just extremely torn up about it. They plan on exiling Travis because of Maddie's rule about no harming others. We harm each other, you get exiled, that type of thing. So they plan on exiling him. Maddie decides, you know what, you can, but we're gonna go with him too. Because she doesn't want to leave him alone. Strand kind of pisses me off because he's just like, Maddie, you have to let him go. And I'm just like, dude, it's her husband. She's not letting him go. Like, just because you were able to kill your husband that easily doesn't mean she's going to be able to. Like, that's just, you're two different people right now. She's more about family than you are. So yeah, that's going down. They've managed to convince Elena to let them take Travis with them. Which, here's my biggest frustration with this whole storyline. The way that Hector acts. He wasn't related to Oscar, was he? I'm pretty sure he was not. Because he is Elena's nephew. And Elena was just a security guard that worked at the hotel, I thought. Or she was a security guard at that wedding. Whatever. I don't remember how she was affiliated with it. But she was not family with Oscar, which means Hector's not family with Oscar. And yet Hector's acting like Oscar's his brother that just got killed. And Andres, I totally get it. Like, your brother just got killed. I understand why he wants to have revenge on Travis. But you look at how Hector's acting, and it's just like, why does he get to go and he doesn't? I'm just like, dude, how well did you know Oscar? He was holding you hostage when we first met you. Like, he was holding you hostage to try to get to Elena, and you're acting like he's the best friend you ever had. Why? It was so bizarre to me that he was acting so weird about all of this. And especially whenever Maddie and Alicia were the two that helped save him from the hotel patrons that were holding him hostage. And he's talking to Maddie like she's a piece of shit. Like, you're not going anywhere with him. And she like tries to go in, she's like, no, you're not getting in. She's like, move. I need to go talk to him. And Elena had already agreed to it, and he's just like, no, we can't let him. I'm like, dude, what is your deal? What is causing you to act like this? I'm so confused. Like, maybe if somebody knows what happened, explain it to me, but I tell you what, his character really pissed me off in this episode. But I guess they needed somebody to team up with Andre, so he's not the only one rushing in to take on Travis, because if he was, he'd be dead instantly. Which he died anyway, but the way they did that was pretty well done. Uh, it was a kind of intense scene. For a moment, I actually felt like Travis was at the end of, you know, maybe he might actually die after what happened. But Alicia comes in with a knife, stabs Andreas, which luckily for us managed to make his arm go upwards. Because I know whenever I got stabbed, like if I ever got stabbed, I would just go, "Oh no!" and shoot up. That was kind of dumb. But she kills him, which will be an interesting story for next season, I guess. Her trying to cope with the fact that she's now killed a guy. Strand shows up, manages to grab the gun that they had and scare everybody off, and now Maddie, Travis, and Alicia all escape. Ask Strand to come with him. He's like, "No, I'll be fine." I don't know if that's it for him on the show. We'll see. But now they're going to look for Nick. So they show up at the place where the drug people were staying at, the big hotel, or not hotel, grocery market thing. All of this stuff is gone. And it confuses me because why and how did you move the stuff out that fast? Like, first of all, the change of day and stuff is really, really confusing. Because whenever they go there, it's nighttime. The very next scene, those guys are rolling up on Colonia, and it's the middle of the day, which means it seems like they had packed up and left the night before. So how many hours did it take them to get to Colonia? But then Travis and Maddie show up just an hour later, maybe. So it couldn't have taken that long. So what were they doing the night before? Why weren't they there the night before? Why did they take all of their supplies out of there in the first place? Like, were they just planning on moving to Colonia and had all their stuff with them? And they managed to pack all of that stuff that managed to fill up an entire, grocery market? They managed to pack all of that in, 6 trucks? With all of their people and all their guns? No. Once again, more details that should matter that don't. Frustrating. So they show up, like I said, they have that scene where they go and see all the walkers, see that everybody's dead. But then they manage to find Alejandro on the bus before he's died. And manage to find out that Nick is heading to the border with everybody else. Meanwhile, getting close to the border, I knew something like this was going to happen because it couldn't end on a happy note, because if it did, nobody would even come back for next season. I think they knew when they were doing this. I think they knew that the show was going to bomb. So we got to have some sort of cliffhanger. We want people to come back so they can find out what happened next time. So everybody's going to show up, and all of a sudden people are going to start shooting. Luciana's going to get shot in the chest, which... why couldn't she have just gotten killed? I thought that's what they were setting up for, and then all of a sudden she gets shot, and then she's completely fine. She wasn't acting like she just got shot. Once again, if I got shot, I wouldn't just be like, "Oh no, what are they going to do?" I'd be like, "Ah." But she's not even wincing. She's just like, after she got shot, she was like, "Ah." But then never acted like she had gotten shot again. It was weird. But whatever happened, now they're being taken captive or something, which means we get more of Nick and Luciana. We get more of Lick next season, because that's a great name for them. God, I'm so tired right now. I'm making up stupid crap. But yeah, we get more of them, which is going to be stupid because I don't understand the relationship in the first place. They're taken captive by, I guess, the Border Patrol, or I don't know. Ophelia had some sort of run-in with some guy at the border, which I hate the fact that she's hardly featuring at all, because once again, she's probably one of my favorite characters. Her and Daniel were, and she hardly featured in this episode at all. We had one scene where the first scene opened, and she's pretty much a badass. Just takes on all of these walkers by herself. Which, on the one hand, how did you get that good? But on the other hand, I don't really care because it's Ophelia. I don't mind her doing badass stuff. But after that, it shows her walking, and then she's getting shot at, and then all of a sudden this guy shows up, and he's just like, "Welcome to the U.S." And she's like, that's how it ends for her. I'm like, okay. I wish we knew more about what's going on there, but I guess we'll find out next season. Ugh. I hate saying that. Like, I hate saying next season because it confirms the fact that there is a season 3 of this show. I'm trying to think if there's anything else for this episode. Oh, I forgot to talk about this during the whole like Walker in the clinic thing, biting the nose off the guy, biting the finger off. The way that Nick kills him is like they're trying so hard to be The Walking Dead. They're like, ooh, we need to have a truly gruesome scene where he stabs him through the eyes and rips out his brain that way, which I'm pretty sure is complete ripoff from The Walking Dead. Like, I'm pretty sure that's happened before in The Walking Dead where no, it was something similar. Like, I think Rick had to like go through some sort of orifice. Maybe just through the eyes. No, I remember what it was now. It was like there was an opening in the chest and he had to go through the chest and like rip out the brain there, something like that, which was freaking badass. But with Nick doing it, first of all, they're in a clinic and you're telling me there are no sharp objects. You have no scalpels, you have no scissors. What kind of cut rate clinic is this? And on top of that, we've seen you using spoons to do the whatever is called the drugs and stuff, crushing all that stuff. I'm pretty sure the end of the spoon is probably sharp enough to stick through his eye, but no, because we gotta be The Walking Dead. We gotta be shocking and gruesome. We're gonna have Nick stab him through the eyeballs and rip out his. Just like, stop trying. Like, just please stop. No, you're trying so hard. That is the first scene this entire season that's felt anywhere close to The Walking Dead as far as the gruesome part, and you failed epically because there's so many other ways to get out of that. Just stop trying, please. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Final thoughts on the season in general. I don't know how else to put it, guys. I mean, this has been a terrible, terrible, terrible season. The first season was okay. They had an original idea going. This season, they completely said, scrap that idea. We're not going to do Society Falling Apart. We're just going to do The Walking Dead. And that's what they tried to do. That's what they failed at doing. The people they have aren't interesting enough to manage to capture my attention. I don't want to see them survive, which is the point of a survival show. And all of these characters are just so dumb with their decisions, and no consequences are coming of it. Nobody's dying. Chris is the only one that died. It wasn't even his fault. It was like, it's just because these guys are evil. Like, Nick's made so many dumb decisions. Alejandro made a ton of dumb decisions, and he didn't die until way late on. Maddie's made several dumb decisions. Travis made several dumb decisions. Alicia's made several dumb decisions. And they're all still alive. Well, not Alejandro, but anyway. I just don't understand why the show thinks it can be The Walking Dead, because it can't. And, for the people who haven't seen The Walking Dead and are tuning in and watching this show, yeah, they'll probably like it well enough because they haven't seen The Walking Dead. And even then, like, there's still enough stupid things going on in the writing and the editing that even people who don't watch The Walking Dead can still be like, that's kind of dumb. But my main issue with this entire season is it's trying to be The Walking Dead. It's trying to, for some reason, take over for The Walking Dead, and it's not. It's almost like they know The Walking Dead. They feel like The Walking Dead is going to end in the next couple seasons or something along those lines, and they're thinking, oh, we need to have another show to take up where The Walking Dead leaves off. Whenever The Walking Dead ends, we need to have another show that can carry the mantle for a couple years after that. And this show is doing terribly at it. It's so dumb, so many dumb decisions. They need to step up their act, because if next season is anything like this season, I'm going to hate it just as much. There's so little to like about this season. The one shining moment, mainly in the second half of the season, has been Travis and Chris, but they featured so little of that it didn't even feel like a part of the show. It's just like, oh yeah, I forgot they were together. That was good, whatever they did. That was good, that episode, but now 3 episodes later, oh, we're back with them again. Great. I can't believe I had to wait 3 crappy episodes for it, but great. I enjoy seeing that. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I feel like I complained so much about this show. I'm so glad this season is over. But like I said, I hate the fact that there's a season 3 because it confirms that they feel like they're doing well with the show, well enough to have a season 3. And I completely 100% disagree. I think they've done terrible. I think they've had so many problems with the editing, with the writing, with the characters themselves. They've got to step it up. And if they don't, I feel like they're probably going to lose a lot of viewership next season if things don't get better. But we'll see how it goes. I will say if season 3 isn't looking much better within the first couple episodes, I may stop watching because I've already got enough shows to watch, and a couple of shows are already frustrating me. I don't need this one too. So those are my thoughts on the season in general. If you want to talk in a bit more detail, let me know down in the comments. We can talk about certain things, discuss them. If there's anything I missed from this finale, let me know. Like I said, I'm really tired right now. I may have missed some stuff, and it was 2 hours long, which they don't deserve to have a 2-hour season finale. There's nothing good about having a 2-hour season finale of Fear the Walking Dead. But anyway, it's over. Time to move on. Got The Walking Dead in a few weeks, starting back up. Excited for that one. So, as always, leave a like and subscribe for future Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead reviews, which probably will be higher praise than for this show. But yeah, getting ready for that. See you guys in a few weeks. Peace out.